Ever since my grandma passed away in 2021, my uncle's name has been brought up by my mom like never before. I'm getting tired of his name suddenly be related to our life because for the past 30 years, it never was. My uncle is my dad's older brother and the only sibling. He went to the United States in the 80s to pursue a doctorate and had never came back until the 21st century. I mean, he's doing alright. Thanks to the incident happening June 4th, 1989, he got to stay in the US on political asylum. Graduated from Johns Hopkins, became a graduate tutor while doing research on biochemistry, and actually won the President's Award, taking photos with George W. Bush in the White House. So, he's never been a burden to the family. Well, he's never been a supporter neither. I grew up with my grandparents. For the 30 years of my life, I've only seen him for like 3 or 4 times. Even when I was in the US for college, he only showed up once, after I got bailed out for possession of marijuana, to give me a lecture about how disgraceful I was to my family. I was like, bro, slow it down. How the fuck you miss 20 years of my growth and family affairs and suddenly show up to tell me about my decision and responsibility? I'm like, come on, man. You've been the professor, you know how it works, right? Before you give somebody a lecture, you gotta make sure you got the credibility. That was like the only time we have ever hung out one-on-one. It was very unpleasant. And I told myself, let's just get rid of this guy from our life once for all. So this is what I said to him in our last conversation. I was like, why are you still making such a big deal out of smoking weed? You've been living the free country for 30 years. How are you able to survive by keeping all those stereotypes? Yeah, I've seen how you've been asking directions from a black guy. You didn't even say thank you after he helped. You just walked straight away. That's a hell of a role model you were showing me. My grandpa, your dad, always told me to respect others and not to discriminate against them based on their appearance. Did you miss that part of education? And how the fuck you know nothing? Nothing about drug as a professor, a biochemistry professor. You can't tell the difference between a plant and chemicals? How the fuck you pass your test? Or maybe you know. You just act like you don't because you don't give enough shit to explain it to the family. You don't think it's worth it to waste your time on us, to tell them the truth to help us change for better. It's gonna be a long-term process to change their stereotypes, and we're not worth it for your commitment. You just want to do it the easy way. Shit pops out, blame the kid. Complete a task for being a supportive brother to my dad when you have to, and move on to the pretty little life you get to live. At this point, I don't even know why to give you that political asylum. You ain't got no rebel heart to challenge authority. Your life is safe. You will never be a threat to any government. Anyway, I ain't got no credibility to you neither. I'm saying these because I'm sick of your shit. But mark my word, when the 2 daughters of yours go to college, they're gonna smoke too. Get ready for that. Yeah, I was mad disrespectful, but I was also saying the truth. The hurtful truth. Ever since then, I've never heard from him again. I actually regret it a little bit because I feel like I was not being hard enough. It was too easy for him. I failed to deliver the frustration from my dead grandpa for him not showing up for the family. I love my grandpa. I hate to see him disappointed. But now he's coming back to our life. Reluctantly, of course, because my grandma left few properties that worth a little money. Before she passed away, she tried to get me and my 2 cousins connected. At that time, I was in the gaming industry. One of my cousins showed interest, but the reunion was interfered by my uncle. For the reason only the 2 of us know. Grandma didn't know why, but she sensed unwillingness. Her last wish was the 2 families of her son could still keep contact in the future, so she made one last bad decision in her life by making the inheritance negotiable for the 2 brothers. Yeah, this shit is for sure gonna last for a long damn while, and it's not gonna smell good at any point. Thank you, Grandma. It's funny to me because my mom act like she cares about that money more than my dad. Like, come on, man. You gotta understand, even though that money might goes to your bank account in the future, that's not the money you get to You don't get to decide shit. It's not your fucking business to worry about that money. Your role is to be a cheerleader, an emotional supporter every time my dad feel like talking about his only sibling, instead of telling him what to do for that money. It was endurable in the first couple of times, she probably just got too carried away by my dad's emotion. It's understandable. But it's getting annoying when every time you hear from your mom, it's all hatred. Like your uncle's wife's a bitch. She must have told your uncle to ask more than he deserved. They're already living a good life, but she's still greedy. She must be thinking about this money all the time cause she's a housewife. She ain't got no better shit to do. And I was like, yeah, besides you got a job, why does it sound like you're talking about yourself? You are that bitch who's talking about this money all day for the past 4 years. That's some deep-ass self-hating shit. And you're allowing it to grow on you because you got somebody else similar to blame. And what is this fucked up topic you choose for a conversation with your kid? Like, how the fuck am I gonna show you any empathy? I've never experienced this shit before, Ma. As long as you're still alive. Plus, I'm the only child. I don't have the necessity to know what it feels like. So you can only imagine this shit is not gonna end well. Two brothers had never had a real conversation in the past 40 years. The few conversations they had was based on how they view each other 40 years ago. Now they're forced to talk to each other because of money. Their wives are giving each other a hard time behind the back, and kids knew they're not gonna see each other because of the mutual disrespect between uncle and nephew. This family relationship is unfixable, and neither of us has the motivation to fix it. But for some reason, my grandma decided to shoot her last shot. I think what she saw in her last life might explain it. The nurse told us she was mumbling. It sounds like she was in a wedding. Mine, she was hosting it, showing hospitality and telling guests to get more on their plate. She loved the feeling of families getting bigger, everybody stays together. She couldn't let go of her beautiful delusion despite the reality. And my dad felt like it's the right shit to do to carry on his mom's last wish. It's called filial piety. He wants that image of being a good son. When his brother took all his attention away from his own family, my mom started to worry and jealous. She couldn't catch a break from her self-hatred. As for me, I gotta stay away from this bullshit to keep my mind clear. What a beautiful Chinese family. Everybody's living their own world with pain and agony. Nobody's living the moment.